Welcome to Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast, your podcast dedicated to all things Animal Crossing. Episode 184 is brought to you by Sleepy Villager, Clads, and Alvar Fernandez Monroy, some of our newest Patreon patrons. This week, Nina, Sergio, and I are going to recap our thoughts on the museum stamp rally, talk about all the new things coming in June, and then go in depth with our thoughts on paid DLC for Animal Crossing. So to begin, hello Nina, how are you doing?
I'm doing really good, and I've got like a few more days. I'm not good at math until the beach. I'm so excited.
You're done like Thursday? Is that the last day or Wednesday?
Well, I mean, technically Thursday, but I'm going in on Friday to help move some more stuff and get ready for my Harry Potter camp. But then on the 1st, I'm going to the beach.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's good. Sergio, how are you?
Good. I'm doing well. I still work through most of June, but I'm thinking of taking a few days off. Definitely one for E3 for Nintendo's presentation, maybe another one for Mario Golf. So it should be a fun month.
I'm really glad you're going to take Saturday off when Nintendo's presentation is going on. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a weird E3 because it is happening like during the weekend this time. Typically, we see it start on the Tuesday and kind of go through the rest of the week, you know? But I think because it's starting on a Saturday this time, I'm going to assume that Nintendo's probably going to do the same thing where they have their event on Saturday and then they kind of just have the treehouse going live all weekend.
Right.
You know?
Oh, that would
I
be
hope
amazing.
so.
That would it'd be the perfect weekend, basically. So yeah, that's awesome. I am. This is my last week of working full time, and then it's really focusing on moving and making content, especially. So things are looking pretty cool pretty soon. So I'm excited about it.
Nice.
But yeah, let's go ahead and get into this show. So the first thing that happened is we've just had the International Museum Day going on this past week. It goes through the end of this month, and it is once again the stamp rally. So basically, you're walking through the museum, you're seeing these little booths, and then you get a little stamp on a stamp card, which I kind of wish we could keep and like put up as a poster somewhere,
Oh,
but
nice.
that's not what we get. Instead, we do get like these honorary like plaques that are very similar to the ones that are in the actual museum for the exhibits. So
Right.
you'll get the bug plaque, the fish plaque, the fossil plaque, and now the brand new one, the art plaque, which
Nice.
is it's very nice to see that they've added at least one little thing for this event. So basically, I just wanted to know how you both felt about revisiting Museum Day. Sergio, do you want to kick us off here?
Yeah, and I wonder that too because I actually didn't go.
Oh,
I haven't gone. Is it over?
no, I think it's still going. I think you have
Oh,
time.
okay. Okay, good. Because I actually wanted to at least to get the art plaque, like you said, because it's brand new. So I don't know. It sounds like that's the only thing they added, but it would have been nice to have, I don't know, maybe different locations for the previous stamps on the other parts of the museum, or just to have different facts about it. But it's nice to get the event back and to have it with a little change with the art plaque at least.
Yeah. I do like the change. I guess I'll tell you how it went since you haven't gone and done it yet. I mean, it's very similar to last year. You know, like if you did it last year, there's not much new outside of that art exhibit now available. But that said, like I thought it was a lot cuter this year than last year. I think
Hmm.
at that point last year when this event happened, which was last May, the game had been out like 2 months,
Right.
right?
Right.
So I didn't necessarily feel like it had been a while since I went into the museum. Whereas this year, I've been long done with a lot of exhibits, basically. So I haven't really looked around as much as I used to, even though the museum is absolutely beautiful in
Yeah.
this game. So This year, I really enjoyed it. It'd been a long time since I've gone and walked around there, so it was nice to like get to see the exhibits that I've had completed but haven't really looked at, you know?
Mm.
And overall, I just had a really cute time just walking around, and then I'd look at something and be like, "Oh, I could take a good photo here, take some photos, get my stamps." And I took stamps or photos of all the stamps that I got as well because
Oh,
I wanted some way to keep that stamp card, you know?
right,
Like
right.
as of right now, it just kind of appears when you're in the museum and
Yeah.
doing the event.
Mm.
It doesn't appear in your pocket. It just doesn't exist
Mm.
basically. So I made sure to take photos as I was completing them too. I was like, I want to see what it looks like with one stamp. I want to see what it looks like with two. um,
Nice.
so so yeah, I got pictures of all of them, and I think I liked it. I liked it this year. I think I can see why I was underwhelmed last year because there's really not too much, and I was already like going into the museum on practically a daily basis just because there's always bugs and fish, like new bugs and fish in the beginning of the game, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
So so yeah, at this point, I'm like well removed from the museum that I was able to enjoy it in a nice way. But yeah, I guess Nina, what did you think of it?
Mm. I, you guys know I love the museum and I
Hmm.
love any excuse to go into the museum, but this is not it. Like if I donate a new sea creature or a new bug or a new fish, anything, I go in and check where it's like,
Oh, nice.
installed. I read the history. I look at maybe it added some background. Like I go in all the time. And this was so underwhelming to me, especially because, like you said, Chewy, you have to take pictures to even remember that it happened.
Sheesh.
Like,
Hmm.
I'm very glad that I got the little art plaque to finish my collection, and it's really beautiful. But can't we at least get, I mean, it's, what is it, over a week's worth of time where you can go in and do this daily. So
Right.
maybe we could build up to the plaques, which I think we actually said last year. Like build up to the plaques. Let us get little stamps. Give us a little stamp booklet. Or like, do you remember how in Amiibo Festival, every time you would hit a corner of the board, you'd get a stamp, and then if you hit
Hmm.
the next quarter, it would build on that stamp, and then like if you
Yeah,
went around a fifth time, it would give you like a little extra piece of that stamp. It was so exciting. Like I feel
basically
like,
the only good part of Amiibo Festival, right?
well, I mean, we'll talk about that another day, but I just feel like this fell so flat from how cute it could be. Plus, all the stamps are exactly the same. Like, no matter even if it changes locations on a different day, the little stamp desk or whatever, all the stamps are exactly the same.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just feel like this is such a cute idea that got started but then got slipped on somehow. I don't know. I just
Mm.
wish that it had more and it could be really cool. I want to celebrate the museum. Let us celebrate
Hmm.
Blathers for his knowledge and his wisdom and his sleepiness. He's amazing.
Yeah, I get that. And I think this was especially bad last year because all of the exhibits basically just tell you like when you donated something, you know, the art
Mhm.
exhibit is the only one that stands out as being like truly informative
Right. Thank
where
goodness.
you click on things and you can learn about the pieces a little bit more, you know.
Hmm.
That doesn't exist throughout the rest of it, so I feel like though the art exhibit is smaller than the others, it's one room. You can see it all
Mhm.
without any loading screens in between other spaces, you know, which is
Mhm.
nice, but it does make it a little smaller. There's not as much to see in there, but there's so much more information in there. I feel like it's a little bit more worth it and a little bit more worthwhile for those, especially playing the first time, to like go in and see the three pieces they found from Reds that were real.
Right.
Because it's so hard to
It's
get
so
the
hard.
art. um, but you know, the three pieces you see, at least there's like, you know, some nice information on
There's
them.
really
Where
nice information. Yeah.
hmm And I think that definitely needs it. But your point about like building up to the plaques, I think that's an excellent idea. I think like if you had to do this event like 7 times to get everything, and you got like, remember the museum models that we used to get in the old
Oh,
games? And
yeah.
just getting like little models of the museums, like different exhibits, would be really cute too.
Yeah.
So
Little plush blathers. Give me a little plushy blathers. That would be so
yeah,
cute.
exactly.
Ugh,
So
yeah. Oh, though I did read or hear somewhere that the plaque's price point, selling point has changed. So it
Oh,
is worth it to go daily to get the plaques every day just to sell them.
nice, nice.
yeah, so they're more expensive now.
Yeah. The fancier.
Well, that's good. That's like, you remember very early on where they dropped the rates of like catching tarantulas and scorpions
Yes,
and
yes.
stuff, and we're like, why? It's
Yeah.
like you want us to use the turnip stock market stuff. It's like, uh, I don't know, but well, that's something. So you do get more money out of that, but at this point, like, who needs money?
Yeah.
Who needs money? I
Yeah.
have 8 million in my bank, and I know people with a lot more than that in their accounts in this game, and I
Yeah.
don't even need 8 million. Do I ever spend any
Yeah.
of it? Not really.
No. I mean, of all the weird little holidays that could have been upgraded for year 2, this was it. Like it could have been so easy to do and it just wasn't done. Sorry,
Yeah.
there's my museum rant over.
No, I think it's good. I think you make valid points. I think for me, I did find it cuter this time around, just, because I haven't been playing too long each day. I probably log
Mm,
in for about 10 minutes,
hmm.
um, which is fine. I don't mind just like doing a little run around, saying hello to the villagers. Um, but yeah, I think the day this started, I spent a little bit more time. I went through the whole
Hmm.
museum, and it was cute. I
It's
enjoyed it.
beautiful. Yeah, the museum is just outstanding.
Yes,
Yeah, best museum we've ever gotten. Keep that up,
Hmm.
Nintendo.
yes,
Make
for
it better and
sure.
better. Maybe give us an update. Give us more bugs,
And some
fish,
information.
fossils,
Yeah, there we go.
gyroids. I don't know.
Ooh!
A gyroid exhibit would be
Yes.
really cool.
I would want
Add
like an
that.
exterior exhibit too if they could make that work.
Ah.
Oh, that would be really interesting.
Yeah.
I guess they kind of leave it up to us to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, it gives me ideas. Maybe I need to work on that. Yeah. Well, that is our thoughts on Museum Days Stamp Rally. Sergio, you can go and enjoy it. Hopefully, you have some fun looking at your exhibits.
Yeah.
But for now, let's go ahead and move on and talk about some new June events and items. So, this is going to be a little quick segment because it's basically just the updates that are coming in the next month. The big thing here is the wedding season is beginning, so that will be taking place the entire month, June 1st through June 30th. So
Oof.
you'll have time to head on over to Harv's Island and just set up a bunch of photo shoots with our favorite couple, Reese and Cyrus. I'm kind of excited to see them again, not gonna lie. I think
Yeah.
it's been a really long time since we've seen some fresh faces in this game. Outside of like moving villagers, that this is the only time we're getting somebody fresh again, outside of Rover this past month.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
so yeah, I miss their faces. I'm excited to see them again and see what they're up to. But I guess that it seems like it's going to be a lot of the same stuff. I didn't make careful notes on what the new wedding season items are, but there are about 3 or so new wedding season items. I don't
Yes.
know if they're going to be available through Harv's Island, like by doing the event, or if it's going to be a Nook shopping thing. My guess is it's their Nook shopping items. Once again, these are going to be available the entire month as well. So be sure to check in, get those new items. But the wedding season is the big thing, but there are going to be a number of different holidays celebrated as well. We have Father's Day, which is going to have the mug from last year and a brand new item, which looks pretty cute. This will be available the entire month of June as well. So be sure to check Nook Shopping for both of these items. The Mother's Day items are going away very soon. If you have not picked up the new carnation items, I don't know what to tell you, but besides they're really adorable and worth getting. I think the new items are far better than the mugs that we got last year. Those are, oh, I don't like them. The next thing that we have going on, this one's only going to last half the month. So June 1st to June 15th, it is International Children's Day. We have gotten these items before. They are returning ones.
Yes.
They are the little kind of superhero kid outfit and crown.
The paper
Adorable.
crown. Yes.
Yeah. The red paper crown with all those little jewels and the little shirt, the striped blue shirt with the cape.
Yes.
A lot of the villagers look really cute in that.
Especially the lazy ones. Give it to your lazy villagers. It's so cute.
It will up them 500%. It's so worth it. But yeah, that item, that piece of clothing is adorable. I recommend stocking up on them because you're gonna get a villager that's gonna look really cute in it, and when you don't have that to give away, you're gonna be sad. The next thing that's going to happen, this one's not going to start on June 1st. It's going to start on June 5th. There are 2 items for a couple lunar holidays in China and Korea. So I don't know exactly what they are, but there's going to be just a couple new items there. This one's shorter, June 5th to June 14th. So you're going to have to, prioritize what you're getting here, especially if you want to stock up on as many Children's Day items as possible. You can always make another character, order 5 more things as that one as well. So if you really want to stockpile and hoard like I tend to do, that's always an option. The last thing, there's going to be a new item for us Northern Hemisphere people, as well as I think the Southern Hemisphere, there's a new item as well. But June 15th to June 21st, they are celebrating the summer and winter solstices. So there's going to be, I think, 2 summer items and 2 winter items.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
well, we
what were
know
you gonna
for
say, Nina?
sure we're getting back the little llama sweater, the little brown llama sweater, and the
Yeah.
sunflower crown, right?
Yes, yeah. And then there's 2 new items for each of them. I think this update actually came during the last solstice, so 6 months ago, and those 2 items were added in the game then. So if you played back then, you probably have the new item from the opposite hemisphere already, and now you're just waiting for the new item in the hemisphere we're entering, right? I guess the season we're entering.
Right.
Very confusing, but hopefully that makes enough sense for you all to pick up on it. But yeah, this one's a lot shorter than the others. June 15th, June 21st, only 6 days, less than a week to get all of these. And once again, the items do change based on hemisphere. If you have a Southern Hemisphere friend, a Northern Hemisphere friend, just the opposite hemisphere, send them something. I think they'll be nice and surprised to see an out of season item show up in their mailbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty fun set of things. I'm in particular really excited for the new Father's Day item. I think that'll go pretty well on some of my cranky villagers. Grizzly, I've been giving him little old man dad outfits and he's looking great.
He's the best. I'm so excited about all the new wedding stuff. It looks amazing. I definitely spoiled myself, but it looks good.
The wedding stuff is not the best, but these look a lot better. They've done a good job of they give us 1 or 2 items that are new each go around, I guess, this time. And I just like them better than kind of the original things. And that's saying a lot because I do like the new stuff that we've been getting. Outside of Bunny Day, I think every holiday's had a really good set of items. So
something always surprises me too, which I like. Does that make sense? The items are always different than what I'm expecting, which I'm excited. It's gonna be good.
Hmm. Yeah, they're trying some new things each time around, and I think everybody gets excited for them too. So I think we're all right there with you, Nina. Cool. Well, that's basically the updates for June. New bugs and fish. I didn't make notes of them, but there will be new ones. I mostly make note of that because I've been playing Cozy Grove, and it does the thing where everything updates after a month, like a new month. So there's like new fish for me to catch and
Mm.
stuff. So I'm just like, yes, can't wait to see what happens in June. Anyways, that's a side note. Different game, similar concept. So let's go ahead and move into our main discussion for today. And we're going to be talking about paid DLC in Animal Crossing and how we would feel about this. So before we get into those feelings, though, I do want to ask both of you, do you think Nintendo is considering doing paid content for Animal Crossing New Horizons? Sergio, what do you think?
Oh man, it's tough. I think it's possible. I think it's a 50-50 chance if they are considering it or not, in my opinion, because in a way they could be, they've been slowly but surely maybe working on some features, right? A lot of people have been wanting a lot of things to come back from previous games, or there's been a lot of videos of quality of life improvements they could do, or just things that would be quote unquote easily added to the game, and Nintendo could be keeping tabs on all that, and they hardly ever talk about anything. In this case, it could be because they're actually doing something.
Mm.
But again, on the other hand, maybe they don't need to. Maybe, I mean, I know New Horizons is doing really well, and maybe Nintendo doesn't feel like it needs whatever New Leaf needed when it got that update. People are still talking a lot about Animal Crossing everywhere. So if I have to choose, I think they aren't working on anything. I hope they are, but I don't think they are if I had to choose.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of wonder at the same time, like you mentioned that they haven't been saying anything, and I will say they've been pretty quiet about anything that hasn't been like Miitopia or Mario Golf these days.
Right.
Even Skyward Sword is getting a lot of attention at the moment, you
Right,
know?
right.
I think the obvious reason is E3 is around the corner and that's where their announcements are going to be, you know? So I think if there's a time to hear about it, it will be E3. I do think, regardless of how big the news is or not, I do think Nintendo is going to say something about Animal Crossing this E3
Mm.
because this latest update is coming to a close. June marks the end of the last content they updated, right? So
Right.
since June is ending, they're going to have to start telling us about what's going to happen July through September in this game, you know?
Oh.
So I don't know. I feel like if they said something it would be coming up, but at the same time you're also right, like who knows if they're doing it. Who knows what
Right.
they're working on at the moment. Um I mean, I think at any given time you can expect Nintendo to be working on Mario and Zelda, you know, and any other big game. But, you know, Animal Crossing, it became pretty huge this time around, and we don't quite know how Nintendo's going to approach that
Yeah.
size. So I'll kind of talk about how I feel about this. I think they would consider a DLC at this point. I think you know, there's always the additional amiibo they could use as an option. The game's doing well. The Sanrio cards sold out. They haven't restocked them. Why not? Please,
Mm.
Nintendo, do that. People want these things. Um, but the game is also doing really well. It's their second best-selling game ever, and it's pretty much their only game without paid DLC. That's like up at the top, you know. Even Splatoon 2 got their Octo expansion, and
Oh.
I know a lot of people say it's like the same team working on Splatoon 2. That is inaccurate, I would say.
Right.
Nintendo has very large development teams. There are a number of different people working on different games within the same kind of development group, you know?
Right.
In this case, Splatoon and Animal Crossing fall into the same group, but while they do have some shared people across the both games, they're not all working on those games. Like they don't completely shift over to another, you know? So I think because Animal Crossing New Horizons has sold so well and, you know, a lot of people have had their fun with it, I think they might be thinking of some way to, I guess, bank on that a little bit more, you know? Selling 33 million copies wasn't enough. They need more money, so that's an option. And I will say, Splatoon 2's Octo expansion was announced like pretty well after the game released. I want to say it was like at least a year before
Yeah.
we heard about it, you
Right.
know? So it's been at least a year since New Horizons came out. So if something paid is going to happen, I wouldn't be surprised at this point.
Now is the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and we could be waiting for it for another year, just like Splatoon 2's thing kind of
Yeah.
happened. It was quite a wait after they announced it.
Right.
But it did come out around in E3, so who knows? E3's just it gives me those big thoughts that I probably shouldn't have. It gets my hopes up. But for some reason, this one feels big. But how do you think of this, Nina? What are you thinking?
Well, I'm glad you brought up the Octo expansion because, and I don't know why my brain was doing this, but I immediately thought of Pokemon and how, they have paid DLC that comes out, kind of late too. We had that Sword and Shield expansion that came out, I don't know, how much longer after it released? Was it a year?
Like the first half was about 6 months, and then the other half after a year. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know why my mind jumped to Pokemon when Splatoon is the obvious jump. It does share so many people on the same team. But yeah, I don't know. We also had the Welcome Amiibo update long after New Leaf was released, and that was
Yes.
totally free, except for you needed to buy amiibo cards to access some of it.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if it won't be something more like that because Animal Crossing doesn't really have a history of paid DLC. I wonder if it's going to be like a sneaky backdoor way of making us pay for something, but it won't really be that expensive.
Right.
And like, look, I'll pay for more amiibo cards. I'll pay for anything. So I welcome it, really. Welcome it,
What if it's an exclusive amiibo through Build-A-Bear?
No, look, me and Build-A-Bear are not friends anymore.
I groaned at that because they are so mean. Why not just sell me the winter outfits? Come on,
Look,
Build-A-Bear.
Only if the amiibo card is in the Build-A-Bear so that I can rip open the Build-A-Bear to get to it. Then I will be happy.
Film it, put it on YouTube. Instant money.
There you go.
Yeah. No, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot to think about, but I guess I have another question for both of you. How would you feel if we had to pay for an update? Nina, do you want to start us here?
I mean, I wouldn't mind. Like I said before, I have put so much time into this game that I will pay more. I've paid more than, how many hours have I put into it? Over 1,000 hours into this game, and I paid, what was it, $60 when it came out. So I've gotten my money's worth. So I think it'd be worth it to pay money for more expansions or more amiibo cards or whatever they want to add. But that's just kind of how I play games. Like with Sea of Thieves, I've put so many hours into that game too. I don't mind buying a little dog companion to follow me on my pirate ship. But that's just how I play games. I know a lot of people don't like buying extras, so I understand it's personal.
Yeah. Yeah, and I get that too. I'm in that same boat where I feel like I've gotten I've got my money's worth with this game. I have over 1,000 hours. That's plenty of time to feel like, oh yeah, I guess I'll throw the developers some money, you know. And I've had basically that thought with Pocket Camp when I was playing it a lot, you know? I was
Yes.
like, I've had a lot of fun with this game. Sure, I'll give you $4 to get some Leaf tickets because I really want this item too, you know?
Yeah.
And because, they get paid somehow, and that's just kind of the nature of how those gotcha games work, you know?
Yeah.
But that said, like, I understand people's resistance toward like exclusive content in Animal Crossing because it is a game that brings out that collector in a lot of people where you're just like you want to be able to get everything, and when you're priced out of that and you feel like it's very, I don't know, it's competitive in that way where you see people with like really cool designs and stuff, and then all of a sudden there's things that people have because they paid for it,
Yeah.
and you can't quite do that same thing. It changes the nature of the
Yeah.
conversation for
And some
people.
people may not be able to afford more. Like,
Hmm.
so that's what part of that is fair.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a tough balancing act. And like you said earlier, too, like this isn't a game series that has ever gotten paid DLC. And I think
Hmm.
going into this era of Nintendo, the question really was how is Nintendo going to handle paid DLC? Because they didn't quite do it before. They dipped their toes into it a little bit during the Wii U era with like Mario Kart DLC, which was like an incredible deal
Yes. Yes.
overall. I
Yeah.
think it was what, $12 for all of that new stuff
Mm-hmm.
altogether. It was a really good deal. And since then, they've kind of gone to that base $20 price point with a lot of it. We see it in Breath of the Wild
Mm.
and Splatoon that we mentioned.
Yes.
So if we were to get something, I would expect it to be in that price range.
Mm-hmm.
It changes between like Pokemon. I think was $30 for theirs, but Pokemon Company does their own thing. They're kind of separate from
Yeah.
Nintendo.
Right.
Um, but I would expect a $20 package overall, and I mean it's really gonna come up to like what is it? Are people gonna want it enough to get it? I don't know. Sergio, how would you feel?
Most likely I would feel okay with it. Like you said, Nintendo, I think overall Nintendo has good track history in terms of DLC. They make it worth it, definitely. But they give you a very good deal, and it's content that it kind of makes sense. And most of the time they make it after the game has been out for a while, so it's not like because some other companies hold off on some things that are already made and they put it out as DLC later. I feel like Nintendo
Hmm.
doesn't really do that. And if we get anything for Animal Crossing, I think it's gonna make a lot of sense and it's gonna make people want to buy it. And for sure, I will. Whatever it is, I will buy it. So yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. Cool. I mean, that was my next question, or that was one of the questions. Would you pay for it overall, Nina?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, go for it.
Yeah, I'm I'm susceptible to Animal Crossing stuff, so
Yes.
I've already bought it. Basically, you don't have to. You don't even have to ask me. Um,
We have a
so my next
podcast about Animal Crossing. We're going to buy the things.
Yes, ask the hosts of this Animal Crossing podcast if they're going to buy the Animal Crossing DLC so they can have something to talk about content wise
That's
in
so
the game.
sad.
Okay, so here's a different type of question. What type of paid content would make you upset?
Mm.
I'll start here. Something that can be digested in one day.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I I think the pleasure I get from Animal Crossing really comes from it being so long lasting and
Yes.
just something that I can log into each day and feel like I'm making little steps, little progress steps toward some goal, you know? If I can log in and just experience this in one day, I'm just not going to be too thrilled, you know? And that's unfortunately kind of the DLC that we've been getting at this point. Like somebody can log in once a month, get the new Nook shopping items, and nope out
Right.
of there right
Right.
away.
Right.
There are those months where they do rotate in the app, so you do have to check in like a couple days to get everything. But for the most part, it's not really providing a lot of longevity for the game, you know?
Hmm.
So if that's what we're paying for, I would be like, this is kind of a bummer. I mean, I already bought it, but it just wouldn't thrill me, you
Yeah.
know?
Right.
Yeah. What do you think, Sergio?
Yeah, I'm with you. That's actually a very good point. I was like struggling a little bit. What would upset me? It's tough. I don't think there's much that would disappoint me in terms of Animal Crossing DLC. I was thinking maybe if the price is a little on the high side,
Mm.
it would be upsetting for sure. But I mean, like we said, we're gonna get it. And or even if it was something like really, really cool that a lot of people have been asking for, but they locked it behind DLC. I mean, that could be upsetting again, but like I said, we're gonna get it. So yeah, there's a few caveats. No, but I really like your point about if it's something that you kind of finish in one day and it really doesn't have anything for you to keep coming back to it. Yeah, that would be disappointing. That would be maybe a really cool day, single day, but that would be it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, it'd be one cool day. Nina, what do you think? What would make you upset here?
I think if we got stuff that we'd already had like in New Leaf, like if we got old furniture or old
Mm,
villagers or old public works projects like from New Leaf, that would make me upset. Like if I'm paying for content, I want it to be new. I want to know that they've put, like thought into into what they're working on. So something deserving of time and energy that we can put into that they've put into that we got a nice little synergy going, I guess. I just don't want to have to like buy the blue furniture set.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that. I think buying old items is, I don't think it would go
Hmm.
over well with a lot of
Mm-mm.
people.
Mm-mm.
Um, that said, like, there are different things that I don't think I feel the same way about. Like furniture, I feel that way, but like say it's Brewster that we
Mm.
have to pay for, you
Right,
know?
right.
I don't think I'd mind as much as that. Yes, we had him in New Leaf, but I think by the nature of Brewster, I think there are some things that need to change
Yeah.
about how he works. I don't think the game is very engaging in New Leaf. I think if you need a guide because like 3 days into playing that mini game, people already expect you to know their orders perfectly. I I I don't know. I think that needs to be updated to some
Yeah.
extent, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So I feel like if they were to add a new character through this, it would, to me, just naturally have changes made that would alter it from what it was in New Leaf, you
Yeah.
know? Um, whereas like furniture, basically the changes, it gets redesigned for HD, you know?
Yeah.
um, which I don't think that's as cool. We've already seen a set get revamped for HD, the Mermaid set from Pascal
Mhm.
that was in New Leaf. So I think they could do that as free updates. Just give us furniture sets each month,
Yeah.
Nintendo. That would be something people would be into. Just for
Yeah.
free, but like the paid stuff, I think it needs to be something more like a character or some gameplay element, you know?
Mhm.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. I guess on the opposite side of that conversation, what type of paid content would make you excited? Sergio, what would get you, really happy that you spent your money on this?
Yeah. Oh, well, anything that's brand new. In I mean brand new to New Horizons. So, Nina, I'm sorry, but like I'm okay with things coming back from New Leaf that are not in New Horizons right now because
Mhm.
I feel like Nintendo wouldn't just put them back in as they were. They would tweak them a little bit. At least I really hope so. So, for example, gyroids. I definitely want to see the gyroids back. Brewster,
Hmm.
for sure. So anything brand new to New Horizons. I mean, ideally, if it's something completely brand new, like new villagers, maybe new personalities, or
Ooh.
mixing and matching the genders in the personalities, that would be a cool little thing too. So anything new. I'm all for anything new for the game.
Mm.
Yeah, I get that. I feel like gyroids need to be part of the museum, this one, if they add them.
Yes,
That
yes.
that's something that needs to happen.
Hmm.
Yeah. So Nina, what would get you really excited?
Mine kind of piggybacks off what you were just saying, where like if they're bringing something back, that was old, it definitely needs to be tweaked. So
Mm.
I would love to see special characters come back in a way that introduces new mechanics or online gameplay. So like if Tortimer comes back, then we need online multiplayer with some new mini games. Or if Brewster comes back, then give us like not just a cafe with coffee, but maybe a kitchen with a cooking mechanic. If
Hmm.
Harriet comes back, let's see new hairstyles and colors, and maybe even hair that kind of blows better in the wind or moves more as
Mm.
you're walking and running. And then if we've got that farming mechanic coming back, I'd love to see Joan or even Farley come and teach us
Oh.
farming. I think that could be really cool. So I just want those special characters. I would pay for the special characters as long as they have kind of a twist.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that for sure. Because I think there are ways for a lot of characters to come back and still feel like new and fresh to Animal Crossing
Yeah.
in ways that we haven't seen before, you know?
Mhm.
And I think that's kind of we've already gotten that type of thing in this game through all of the special characters, I would say. They all kind of appear in new ways.
Right.
Even like Sahara, she used to just go into your house and give you some random carpet and wallpaper, but now there's a whole huge amount of carpets and rugs and walls, and we get a random one each time still, but we can buy tons instead of just get that one go.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think there's definitely ways to revamp them and make them interesting to players. I have one thing listed here that I think would make me incredibly excited.
Oh,
One, I'd be cautiously excited. I didn't list it, but let's start with the incredibly excited. I want a Happy Home Designer expansion,
yes.
and I know Quantrell's probably listening here right now too, and thinking, yes, agreeing wholeheartedly. We're of the same mind here, but I need a way to customize both the exterior and interior of all of my homes a lot more freely. Only having access to a bunch of exteriors eh, at the biggest size house is a crime. I think that needs to be rectified. We need that changed so every house of any size can be changed. I would especially like it if we got to customize like our villager homes, and um I don't know how I feel about doing their interior. I guess it would be attached to that regardless, but like being able to mess with their exteriors would be really fun as well, and I would want them so badly to expand their homes too. I feel like there was an opportunity for that by
Hmm.
when we moved in, they were in tents. Our two little villagers were in tents
Oh,
with us.
Yeah.
yes.
I
Ooh.
wholeheartedly expected them to also upgrade their houses alongside ours, you
And
know?
Ooh.
their interiors.
Yeah, and some of their interiors. I mean, the happy home designer thing, I think we'd be able to, they could
Yeah.
hire us to do their interior.
Yes.
They maybe limit it to like you can decorate one a villager's house a day.
Yeah.
But that would be super fun. That'd be a really cool thing. But yeah, that would make me incredibly excited. I think just any more options that we can get around our house, because they did a really good job with the exteriors of the island, but I think they kind of like, they put some stuff into the house, but to me, it wasn't. It could be more. It could be more. I don't want to say it wasn't enough because I have had a lot of fun with what's there, but it could be more. So here's the thing I didn't list that I think I'd be cautiously excited about it. I think if we paid for a multiplayer update that added mini games,
Mm.
Hmm.
and I hear that groan because I don't feel like we should have to pay for that, but at the same time, I would wholeheartedly pay for this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think there's one game that had multiplayer DLC, and that is Luigi's Mansion 3. Luigi's Mansion 3 had like a $10 paid DLC package for that just added some more mini games for online in that game. I think they could do like a $10 mini game package in this one. Send us a little, let us fly to a little island with friends and play some games together and have a good time, you know? I think they could probably get away with that. But I'm cautious about it because I know a lot of people really feel like this should have just been here already.
Yeah.
Why is there a dock? Why are there 8 seats in the airport? Why does this stuff exist and not let us go
Yeah.
to an island together to play mini games? You know?
And we're already paying for Nintendo Online. So, like, yes. I mean, I would pay for it, but just to, just to, to argue a little bit.
And that's the other thing too. Like, if people aren't paying for online already and aren't interested in playing online at all, then they're probably not going to do it in the first place. So this is really just something for those online players who want that type of experience with the game. So, yeah, I mean that's my big list of stuff. Mostly the Happy Home Designer expansion. I want that. Lottie, she can come back, and I think we'd have a good time.
Oh, I love Lottie.
She's cute. I like her. We need otter villagers. We have several different otters in the game.
Yeah.
Otters, turtles. Give me more animals.
DLC.
You paid DLC right there. Cool. Well, let's go ahead and move into Haken's Islander Corner. For everybody who doesn't know, every week we ask our patrons a question and read their answers out loud here on the show. This week's question, of course, fits in with our conversation that we just had about DLC, but we asked, what would you want out of a paid DLC package for Animal Crossing New Horizons? And there were a lot of really good conversations in these. I think I decided to hold some for later to ask this question again, because I feel like I need to ask them how they would feel about paid DLC, because I know there are people who really don't want it, and I think I want to get more. I mean, obviously, us, the hosts, we're going to pay for it and play it because we do the show and cover all things Animal Crossing, as we say in the beginning. So, we're going to get it, but I really want to see people get that perspective from the players, the people who don't cover this game day in, day out like we do. But let's go ahead and get to their answers. Let's go Nina, then Sergio, then me.
Okay. So the first one is from Mark B, who says, not sure if this could be classified as DLC, but perhaps a high street / main street option. If I needed to buy something from, say, Sahara, but she wasn't in my island, I could visit her shop and the others, etc. I think leaving the island would open the game up massively and bring players back. I've heard this a few times. I feel like you guys have even said how much you like and miss the either downtown or Main Street from New Leaf and from City Folk. So it could be really interesting, even if it's just another little tropical island that we could, puddle hop over to.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I will say, like, I was against this initially. I think it was mostly because I wanted things integrated on the island itself and us to be able to decorate around them and everything. But now that I've filled mine up a little bit, I can see why people would want to keep the spaces kind of separate. I think it's still fun to get some new buildings to add to your island itself, But now with more people having a more complete layout, I can see why they would want a lot, their separate main street shopping option,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus, the really full towns just don't run very well on the Switch. So,
that's the biggest thing.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I would love to have tons of shops on my island, I just don't think it's possible.
It's we've pushed the Switch to its limits. Our little Animal Crossing game of little, I don't know, people call us a baby game, but look at what we've done. We've rendered the Switch It's useless now. It can't operate because our game is so strong.
The fan is not fast enough.
Yeah.
It's not. Fun fact, I've had to get my fan replaced on my Switch.
Oh
Splatoon
no.
drove it to the limit.
Oh man.
Yep.
Nice. The next answer is from For the Whim, and they said, if that's what it takes to get Brewster, then I'll take it. I would also love to have them put out themed item sets like Jungle, The Office, Zelda, etc., that would have specifically themed items to decorate your island with, that included new trees, and bushes, and flowers, and vegetables. We just need more. Yeah, more is a good word for Animal Crossing.
More, always more.
Yes.
All I
Yep.
can think of from this now is when they said theme sets and then they said The Office is I want a little Dwight to put in my town somewhere. That would be amazing.
You should dress one of your villagers up like him.
I definitely need to now.
Harriet can come over and start giving us wigs to give our villagers, and then you can give them little hairstyles.
Oh my gosh,
I think
amazing.
that'd be a great way to implement her into the game. Paid DLC. So let me be said, I can't remember who had the idea, but someone a while back had a really detailed plan for a city DLC which expanded a lot upon the city area in City Folk. There's a lot of potential there, and if we can visit the city anytime, I think it would be great. Maybe this would be less ideal for some people, but Brewster could even be there. The post office with Pelly could be there. All of the old characters we miss could be incorporated somehow, but this is dreaming big. And I think a big one for me is like, I feel like you can't have the city without Gracie, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, true.
Yeah, having that extra shop would go a long way.
In Club
And-
LOL.
Oh,
Yeah, Club
yeah.
LOL. Maybe we can get DJ KK back. There
Yes.
was that. If you recall that direct, that amazing direct that showed off New Horizons, they scanned in the DJ KK amiibo card and it did nothing. And they said they might be added later.
Yes.
Still waiting. Still waiting.
Oh man, and then Gracie could have really cool new furniture sets too.
Oh yeah, that's the biggest thing for me. Like I really, as much as I miss the old Animal Crossing sets, we had them for 4 games.
Yeah.
I was really excited for like a revamped Animal Crossing with all types of new furniture. We got that through New Horizons, and I think we'd keep getting that if they added these things.
Plus, look, if Gracie is gonna wipe our banks clean, then we have a reason to keep playing and to use the stock market. And you know, we gotta work towards those expensive tastes.
True.
Yeah, I have millions of bells in my pocket.
And Gracie
let
wants
me buy
them.
For
things.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll all be gone. I'm sure however many bells we have, it's not enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, Honey Ocean says it's hard to balance content that would be significant enough to be worth paying money and also not game breaking for players who can't afford to pay for DLC.
Yeah.
I am a firm believer that Animal Crossing should not be a game that hides big features behind a paywall. I think a huge new villager release would be perfect for DLC. It doesn't block off a ton of activities / recipes for non-paying players. It's purely aesthetic, but worth it for many like myself. I'd gladly pay a big batch of brand new villagers. That would be awesome. I totally
Yeah.
agree. I like that it's not putting anything behind a paywall. I mean, because a lot of the players are very young. So, you know, having to ask your parent who has already paid for a game, like, oh, but there's more to the game now, mom. Like, some parents just may not understand that and may just say no. So they're going to feel like they're not part of the community or not, you know, not as into the game anymore. So I am completely behind this.
Yeah. Yeah, and they make a really good point about doing new characters that way, just because, like, you know, there are so many personalities, and if I'm sure there's already a personality for whatever you're looking for. So it really is, like, kind of aesthetic at that point, if you think about it in the
Yeah.
grand scheme of, like, 400 villagers,
Yeah.
a bunch of them are going to share the personalities. So really it's just like you're getting a new skin for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Nice. So Pip said, if I had to choose one thing for a paid DLC, it would definitely be to choose which soundtrack from previous games to play in the background. Ooh, I like this. I have found myself listening to population growing music on my phone while playing Animal Crossing, and it brings back so many memories. That feature would bring back lots of old and new players. But this is Animal Crossing. I'm sure I'll buy any DLC if they provide us with anything. True. Pip, that's true. And I feel like that's a feature that Nintendo wouldn't want to add right away because they would want to promote the new soundtrack, right? It kind of makes sense. But now, it's been over a year. I'm definitely for this. This would be amazing.
Yeah, I am still so surprised we haven't gotten like a music app on our Nook phone yet.
Yeah.
Ooh,
That just lets
yes.
us play any KK Slider song on the go. Come on.
Yes.
Now we have to risk all the lag from filling our island with, little music players all over the place. But that would be a really cool app to add to that for sure. And just like
Yes.
implementing those old soundtracks with, I'd be playing so much different music on there. Yeah, the old soundtracks are wonderful, and I always spend a lot of time listening to them in different
Oh,
ways.
especially on rainy days. Oh,
Oh,
Oh yeah, the rainy day theme, first game, instant nostalgia for me every
yes.
single time.
Yes.
I just I just get the feels when I hear that thing. All right, our last answer is from Margot J, and they said, as a first time Animal Crossing player with Animal Crossing New Horizons, I can only speak to my experience with this game, but the ideas mentioned above about an ancillary island that you can travel to and decorate with new different outdoor features would be amazing. Also, I would love the Critterpedia expanded and new creatures added to keep fishing, diving, bug catching interesting. It's getting a tad tiresome. I love both of these things. Like the having a second island always takes me back to Animal Crossing on the GameCube when you'd plug in a Game Boy Advance to your GameCube. Cap'n would roll up on the dock and take you to a new island where you got a special island villager. You could only get one extra little villager, but you got a new villager out of that on the island.
Yeah.
They had their own home. It was all decorated and stuff. There were coconuts there. It was really hard to get coconuts in that game. But you did get your own little island house on there that you could decorate for yourself as well.
Ooh.
And so, like, if there's any game that idea is going to fit into as cleanly as New Horizons, I don't know. I just feel like it works, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that concept. And now with the outside decorating too, like having a little private island that you can decorate any way you want. I mean, I know we could terraform our own and do that, and I've seen people do really cool things with that idea, but like having a dedicated template for people would be really awesome. And then on top of that, yes, Critterpedia expansion. I need new bugs and fish. These 2,000 more bugs that I need to catch aren't going to catch themselves.
2,000.
I'm trying to get 100% these Nook Miles tasks, and it asks too much of you.
It's too
5,000
much.
bugs, 5,000 fish.
Sheesh.
It's going to take me years.
I want to talk to who came up with that number.
Who did that? Whoever they were, they are mean.
Whoever they were really hates Animal Crossing.
They just feel like we're gonna do that a lot more than we actually need to complete our Critterpedias and museums,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast. Don't want the episode to end? Well, you can keep the conversation going by Nintendo switching over to our Discord. Just follow the link in the description and you can talk with other people who love Animal Crossing as much as you do, including Sergio, Nina, and me. Want to support the show in a bigger way and get your voice heard during the show? Visit patreon.com/ChuiPlaysNintendo. You can support our show with just $1, get special access to a secret room on Discord, join in on the Haken Islander Corner, and even read a monthly newsletter covering all things Haken and Chuy Plays. We really appreciate the support and put your money towards some great things on the show. Tuned in on YouTube, the comments were a great place to let us know your answers to the Haken Islander Corner. What would you want out of a paid DLC package for Animal Crossing New Horizons? If you dig what you hear, please KK slide over to that review section on your platform of choice. Let people know what they're missing out on. Haken is a Wild production brought to you by Chuy, Sergio, Nina, and all of our patrons. We thank you for listening, and we hope you have a great week.
Goodbye, everybody.
See you all next time.